Welcome to game 2 of the series. This is again going to be Paul versus Giap. Giap took game 1, just snatched it right away from Paul at the last moment when I was sure Paul had it with 130 some victory points remaining. So Giap is currently up 1-0 over Paul with 130 victory point Axis victory in game 1. Paul is playing as Oster on the left side, Giap playing as Soviets rather than American US forces on the right. We're going to see mechanized assault, close air support, elite troops versus shock rifle, guard motor, and anti-infantry tactics. See what Giap chooses to do. He is going to go with an extra squad of combat engineers here. This squad of combat engineers moving to throw some barbed wire down in this area. This one moving to do backcapping in the north. Conscripts going south. Giap will field forces mostly towards the south for combat. Combat engineers are just going to be doing backcapping in the north, banking on them being pretty much unopposed. Paul is going to send one grenadier squad for the cutoff. Might head center/north with those grenadiers. See what he chooses to do. Pio's moving towards the fuel point. If encountered by conscripts, conscripts should easily win an engagement against them, while grenadiers are tied up here in the middle, maintaining control of this building, maintaining control of the cutoff, potentially getting a little bit aggressive for the right side fuel point. The wire will be fully constructed here by these combat engineers. Combat engineers moving to take control of the victory point right there. Grenadiers will push the combat engineers into retreating away from them, maybe into some green cover into the house. Conscripts are just going to set up in green cover right here, defending this cutoff for now, not getting aggressive or pushing for territory. Paul will take control of this strategic point here with his grenadiers. Pio is going to close range against those conscripts and push them into retreating. Grenadiers engaging against some squads right here will pull back away from conscripts. They will be able to engage out of 3 windows, I think, from the position inside this house. Doesn't want to be in that house though. Apparently, he's just going to go move to support here in the north against these combat engineers. Group up with his second squad of Grens. These 2 squads in the south will push away that squad of conscripts. Pios and Grens leaping the wall right here. Conscripts will leave that building. These squads moving up aggressively to try and push away the grenadiers up here. There's 2 combat engineers and 1 conscript squad against 2 squads of Grens. Conscripts getting focused down pretty quickly. Grenadiers also falling pretty quickly. Grenadiers will get control of the munitions point. No further support is on its way here. Paul's just going to have to try and win this, but he will definitely not be able to with that flamethrower just popped. Flamethrower popping is definitely going to seal the engagement for Giap, and Paul will have to make a full retreat from the north, losing all territories up here. Conscripts take control of the cutoff right there, but Paul is connected to everything thanks to the center victory point, which this squad of conscripts is moving to take control of now. Meanwhile, this squad moving to grab the south munitions, and these grenadiers charging into close range against these conscripts will definitely lose that engagement.
The enemy is attempting to steal our sector.
I think. For some reason they're taking oddly little damage. Conscripts did a little bit of a shuffling maneuver right there, which kind of slowed their DPS, and now the Grenadiers might actually be winning this engagement if they can get a couple more snipes. I think those Grenadiers charging into conscripts actually are going to maybe win. Grenadiers take control of the building right there. These conscripts in green cover might be able to bleed them. Grenadiers maintain control of this fuel just barely. If they wait too long to retreat, there's a good chance of them being wiped on retreat by this conscript squad at close range. That could be for the first wipe of the game right there. And there it is. Conscripts got the lucky snipe. So Paul is now down a squad really early in the game, just like he was in game 1. Keeps on having to operate with being 1 squad behind, which is not a good situation to be in. Keeps on losing that early squad. That early squad wipe really hurts.
Our opponents are seizing a sector. MG42 team is
Grenadiers reinforcing right here. Pios reinforcing here as well. MG42 making its way to the front line. Try and shoot stuff.
Pioneers awaiting orders.
What the fuck? Do you guys hear? I think my headphones like have this thing now where if the battery starts dying, it starts making this weird buzzing noise. But I guess you guys can't hear it. Whatever, it's plugged in, everything's fine. Okay, here we go. This is why watching on YouTube is superior, because you can fast forward through this.
This is German territory. Yes? You can teach an old dog new tricks. Einsatzbereit.
Grenadiers moving to engage against conscripts here in the center. Conscripts versus Grenadiers here in the south. They're at long range, and green cover should definitely win that engagement. Flamethrower moving to take in, what was that? Mine. Mine on the retreat takes out one. God damn it. One Grenadier squad is forced to retreat. We'll get away. Cutoff maneuver here is successful. Shuts down the resource income here for Paul here in the south on the fuel point. This MG42 taking control of the munitions. These Grenadiers trying to take control of the VP.
The new Grenadier squad is ready.
Bunker going up here for Paul. Still no tier 2, still no battle phase 1. He has chosen mechanized assault and is going to try and defeat his opponent with the Stugi, similar to what Giap did to him in game 1. Of course, Paul's not going to go with 3 MG42s, going to field just 1, sending that towards the north, try and shut down the push by these conscripts here.
Enemy forces are securing our territory.
Here in the south, LMG Grenadiers forced to engage against these conscripts at short range without cover, going to go down quite quickly. Conscripts have yellow. Grenadiers are flanked and have no cover at all. Will be forced to retreat right there. Tier 3 going up here in the Soviet base.
Engineer standing by.
Our territory is falling into enemy hands.
Pioneer squad.
Pio's taking control of the strategic point right there. Grenadiers moving to take the fuel and strategic points there as well. MG42 suppressing these conscripts in the north, may be able to force a retreat. Doesn't look like any support is on the way, and Grenadiers are dealing additional damage, meaning those conscripts definitely have to get out of there. There's the retreat. They couldn't quite make it to a super safe retreat path, and I don't think these conscripts are likely to win an engagement. Ooh. Oh my god, that friendly fire! Did you see that? That flamethrower just killed 3 conscripts right there. Wow, he's actually kind of lucky that squad didn't get wiped. I can't even believe that just happened. That was terrible. They have 3 enemies killed and 3 friendlies killed. Jeez. Two squads making their way towards the bottom left, taking control of the fuel point here, forcing a retreat from the conscripts there. And a mechanized assault group is on its way hard right to try and push everything back into the base. No Soviet tier 3 unit on the field yet without the fuel together for it. And Paul's going to get a lot of map control because of his decision to field this unit. It will, of course, slow down his... Well, not really. He's got the fuel for a Stugi already, but... It'll mostly be a manpower setback. 500 manpower to field this. but it's going to earn him a little bit of map control, so it seems like that decision is going to pay off. He's sending the half-track back to his base to pick up his flamethrower squad, and he's going to drop Panzer Grenadiers off here on the front line to try and defend this area with the MG42, try and seal Giap into his base if at all possible. Meanwhile, Grenadiers here in the south will definitely have to retreat from those two squads of conscripts. Other Grenadier squad is going to jump into the center VP, get that captured. Panzer Grenadiers grabbing this sector over here on the right, and an AT gun is being fielded. Maybe a little on the early side. Still not that close to the Stug, but having that AT gun could potentially help him snipe the half-track. And the Stug is, of course, going to be here pretty soon. Conscripts do have access to AT grenades, I think. No, they don't. No AT grenades. Giap usually has them by now. Deviating from that decision a little bit this game, apparently. MG42 firing on those conscripts will force that retreat, but has to retreat in turn from the conscripts moving up on the flank. Panzer Grenadiers will get across the road without sustaining any damage, but there are two flamethrowers here for this engagement. They should probably pull to safety. The half-track with the flamethrower inside will start putting pressure on the squad inside this building, though. They will leave the structure. Still no AT grenade research, still not even in progress, because he has dropped all of his fuel on this T-70, which is about to complete. Paul does not have the CPs for Stug. He does not have an AT gun. He does not have any counter to the T-70 at all. But he does have a lot of munitions. He might maybe consider Panzer Shreks on his Panzer Grenadiers. I don't know. Conscripts ooh on to close range on those Grenadiers and force a retreat here in the south, while Grenadiers set up a triple cap against Giap. Here at 10 minutes. Clock has not really ticked very fast against anybody yet this game. First triple cap of the game, I believe, getting set up now. Giap will start losing victory points. S-mine field placement is interrupted, and the T-70 is on its way to force its first retreat here in the north against that flamethrower Pio squad. There are a few Grenadiers here to maybe try and keep it at bay with Panzerfausts. One squad jumping into this building, falling low very quickly, and is immediately forced to retreat and almost gets wiped. T-70 taking some shots at it, is not quite able to finish it off. Grenadiers jumping into this building, trying to continue to stall against that T-70, and Paul's going to try and engage as well as he can to get to 6 CPs and get a Stug E out to counter that thing. MG42 will suppress these two squads, but flamethrowers moving around the flank will pressure Paul into repositioning or just retreating. Meanwhile, here in the south, two squads of Grenadiers are getting all territory under control, munitions and fuel falling into Giap's hands. I think that's a Panzer Shrek upgrade on that Panzer Grenadier squad. That's the only explanation for him doing this huge volley right there, plus Grenadiers moving to support. I think they will get the Panzerfaust off, and the T-70 goes down. Nicely played by Paul right there with the Panzer Shrek timing, and the Grenadiers perfectly timed and executed, and the half-track will sustain one anti-tank gun shot but get away safely. Of course, during that engagement, his machine gun gets wiped, and then the AT gun just moves up and snipes him anyway, so puts a bit of a damper on that on that push. But he does recover his machine gun and nope, almost but not quite. LMG Blob trying to punish those flamethrowers, laser beaming them down as hard as possible. They'll both be forced to retreat. High explosive barrage. Ooh, big hit on the flamethrower pios right there. Pretty good hit on those Grenadiers too, but it looks like Paul is, well, he's probably going to lose the engagement now. Pretty good high explosive barrage. Here comes the Stug E. I don't know if Paul is going to want to engage with that Stug with a field gun pointed right at him. Seems like kind of a weird thing to do. Just drove straight into that thing. Fortunately, it did not sustain engine damage and will get clear of the field gun's arc of fire after sustaining only one shot. Giap has taken control of the entire south, except for this cutoff point. We'll get that all connected by these conscripts in the center of VP now. Panzer Grenadiers heading south to try and get the fuel under control. The Stug has to pull back for some repairs, and a lot of Grenadier squads need to reinforce and heal on the base, while these two squads start taking control of the munitions and victory points. Conscripts will easily win against that squad with no SCGs remaining. Maxim gets forced away by these LMG Grenadiers. He's not going to go for another miracle. High explosive barrage. Doesn't quite have the munitions for it, so he's just going to have to try and pull back to safety for now. Conscript's taking control of the north munitions here, and this squad moving to do some backcapping here while Paul gets aggressive and tries to take control of territory. Doing some backcapping with that wounded squad and then immediately retreating. Paul not even wasting time sitting in his base, reinforcing, just sending them with their LMGs straight back onto the battlefield to try and force retreats and get map control back as soon as possible. MG42 going to do some backcapping. LMG Grenadiers doing what they can to those conscripts as they retreat, but not really focusing on trying to get wipes, just spreading out and getting some territory back as quickly as possible, and trying to maintain vision of his opponent's anti-tank weapons so that he can be as smart as possible with his Stug E. Flamethrower burst right there, knocked that combat engineer squad. Stug taking shots, doesn't quite find an opportunity against anything. There are 2 field guns on the battlefield here for Giap, and Paul is about to take control of the cutoff here and shut down all Soviet income from the south while he's taking control of all territory here in the north. So Giap will be reduced to a very low income. Paul also at a pretty low income while he waits for a lot of sectors to get capped. He's throwing an S-mine field down here on this approach. Try and bleed any infantry that moves to take back control of this cutoff. Giap does not currently have a minesweeper, although he could purchase one since his flamethrower just popped. There's a mine right there. So close to hitting that mine. That was very lucky for Paul. That could have been a dead Stug. After getting control of some sectors here in the north. Oh no! He just walked right into that S-mine field. A lot of conscripts just died right there. Paul walks into a mine as well here in the south with his Grenadiers, bleeding that squad a little bit. Grenadiers taking control of this strategic point. Another mine blown up right there by that squad. More S-mines blowing up apparently. Oh, that was just a crawler. I think. Yeah. Just a crawler. Conscripts taking control, or engaging against these Panzer Grenadiers down here in the south. Stug E rotates to fire on these flamethrower combat engineers. Stug takes a big hit on the rear armor though. 2 hits consecutively. It definitely needs to try and get back to safety for repairs now. Fortunately, the other field gun was not available for that maneuver by Paul, or it would almost certainly have been destroyed. Heads all the way south to meet up with, I don't know. It's in a lot of danger right there. If those conscripts get an AT grenade off, it could be destroyed. Fortunately, 2 shots and the entire squad gets wiped. Rifle grenade here in the center forces a retreat from some more from that minesweeper. A couple squads are about to try and make their way north. It looks like Paul, however, is setting up an extremely strong containment against Giap here. He doesn't seem to be able to break free. And Giap is up to 11 CPs and still has not chosen a commander. He's sustained a lot of wipes and has absolutely no map control. Paul completely containing him in his base, and he might be regretting his decision to go tier 3 a little bit because that T-70 died almost immediately, and it was a huge fuel investment that he's not going to really get a big return on, and it's going to really slow down any call-ins he might field this game. He's going to throw some shock troops out, but it's a long road to IS-2 from this point. Meanwhile, Paul is well on his way to Tiger, having not opted to tech up in any way, shape, or form. We'll be able to get a Tiger out in another quarter of a CP, at which point there may not be much that Giap can do to survive. MG42 working on the shock troop squad right there. Rifle grenade on the field gun brings it quite low. Shock troops get suppressed. Frag? I think that was a misclick. That was not a very good misclick considering Giap has very precious few munitions to be losing on frags in the middle of roads like that. That frag grenade is 30 munitions, unlike the guard's 45 munitions grenade, so at least it wasn't too much munitions right down the drain. That conscript squad will be forced to retreat right there. I think I heard a mine detonate something. Full squad of Grenadiers wiped on a mine right there. So that's a nice pickup for Giap for sure. That will, by the way, bring Paul up to the 11 CPs he needs during this series of engagements. He will be fielding a Tiger very soon, although he's dropping a bit of manpower and reinforcement here in the base. Tiger is going to be hitting the field in about half of a minute. Grenadiers engaging against shock troops here in the south. they will be able to force away that Grenadier squad. Stug moves to re-engage against squads here in the north. Giap slowly breaking free of his containment a little bit. He does have the AT gun on the way, plus conscripts on the flank to maybe get an AT grenade off. Stug is going to try to kite away from those conscripts. It does wipe the combat engineer squad there. Continues its advance through the north. The second AT gun is not available. It's still here in the south. Stug is just trying to get to safety away from the AT gun plus conscripts if at all possible. It will sustain engine damage here and get stranded behind these shrubs, but the AT gun cannot get in range to finish it off. Unfortunately, with all of this LMG, Gren's MG, and flamethrower in the way, the AT gun will have no choice but to pull back to safety, and Giap will go back to trying to rotate towards trying to take control of victory points and territory here in the south with shock troops and conscripts. Try to continue playing safe and careful, and he has actually fielded a T-34, so he's just going pretty much all into tier 3. Not going to be able to make it to Collins for an extremely long time unless he makes a dramatic impact with that T-34 against the Stug. But if he does, in all fairness, Paul at this moment doesn't actually have that much infantry left. So if the T-34 maybe gets some really lucky wipes with a crush maneuver or whatever, maybe takes out the Stug, maybe he'll have a little bit of wriggle room between, well, the Tiger's honestly going to hit the field now, so the T-34's window of opportunity before the Tiger arrives is pretty much already closed. Which is because that's just how late that T-34 is, unfortunately, for Giap here. T-34 detonates some S-mines there. Panzer Grenadiers firing on the T-34. Conscripts taking control of the strategic point. Conscripts will be forced to retreat right here from this engagement, falling pretty low. Not entirely sure they're even going to get away. AT gun is set up in this area. Paul is going to pretty much have to dive his Tiger into AT guns for Giap to have any chance of destroying it. Fortunately, that looks like what he's going to do. First AT gun shot pretty much just bounced as nothing. Tiger comes very close to wiping those squads, but fortunately doesn't quite succeed. Both AT gun shots during that did not connect. 3 AT gun shots do not penetrate or hit. Those Tigers have yet to sustain any damage. Both field guns deployed to this engagement. Grenadiers moving to engage. Panzer Shreks get a big volley off on that T-34 and we'll have to pull back to safety immediately. Rifle grenade on that Maxim does minor damage. Grenadiers will be forced to retreat. Paul has a triple cap going against Giap. He has a Tiger and Stugi defending the center. Giap shows no sign of being able to break his containment. The triple cap continues against him with only 225 victory points remaining. He doesn't show any signs of getting any further map control. Doesn't show any signs of being able to break out of his base and get victory points taking against his opponent. Another mine on some Grenadiers. He has planted a lot of mines. Got one lucky wipe, so mines have definitely been paying off big time. Don't hit that mine, Paul! Paul! Oh my god, so many close calls on Paul's tanks this game. I can't even believe how lucky he is. He needs to throw out a minesweeper. How many mines is he going to hit this game without throwing out a minesweeper? Come on, Paul.
200 points remain. The enemy is encroaching on our territory.
Ooh, double flame crit, but he's going to retreat anyway. That's still going to significantly weaken those shock troops in any consequent engagements.
Keep your heads down! Combat engineers are standing by.
Smoke grenade deployed down here to block that Stug's ability to fire on those shocks while they try and get the victory point captured and buy more time. Grenadiers are jumping into close range on that T-34 to try and damage its engine. It will pull back to safety away, but it does sustain engine damage. Field guns need to back up to avoid getting laser beamed down by the LMG. Squad will retreat away from flamethrower fire. MG-42 has been flanked here in the north. Going to turn to fire on those conscripts now. Shock troops are going to retreat. Doesn't look like Giap is really breaking through anywhere, except for maybe a little bit in the north. Tiger is moving to engage against everything here in the center. Takes a big shot on the T-34, but has to pull back away from the field gun. Fortunately, a shot bounced right there. Tiger shot misses. Another field gun shot misses. Tiger disengages completely and should be able to get to safety, and the clock will continue to tick against Giap. Conscripts taking control of the North Munitions Point right there. Panzer Grenadiers are about to get a triple cap going against Giap again. Nothing's taking control of the North Victory Point just yet. Tiger is about to receive some repairs, and Paul will have the fuel for another Tiger very soon. Giap's still not even close to being able to field one IS-2. This T-34 has not succeeded in any way at all in getting a little bit more map control back. Unfortunately, a couple of conscript squads are going to find opportunities to maybe get the clock slowed there in the north. LMG Grenadiers move up to push those conscripts out of the capture circle. Rifle grenade deployed, a little bit off target. Or not off target, but they dodged with retreat. Move into closer range to force another retreat from that squad. The Stug E bleeding these conscripts as they advance towards the center. The AT gun's not currently in position to assist on any of those engagements. Just more manpower bleed, not accomplishing anything. Paul will maintain this containment, and the Tiger is fully repaired, moves to re-engage here on the front line, takes a shot at that field gun, doesn't quite connect though. Light artillery barrage being dropped on that AT gun in addition to the Tiger fire, should be able to clear that easily. AT gun's going to go down. Second AT gun is a little late to the engagement. This one has been completely destroyed. This one taking shots at the Tiger from range. Grenadiers being slowly pushed out of this capture circle by the T-34 while the MG-42 moves to set up another triple cap. This Tiger goes in hard on the AT gun and will completely clear it. T-34 sort of making a last-ditch attempt at killing that Tiger. Does actually get a lucky penetration on its frontal armor. Circling around looking for more opportunities. Is actually going to start working on the rear armor of that Stug E, which is a little bit exposed right now. Tiger firing at the field gun, a lot of infantry moving straight in on that. T-34 continues to take shots at the Stug E, which is caught a little bit out of position. T-34 shot barely missed. Tiger is pulling back away. Shock troops throw smoke so that they may recover the AT gun, which is trying to take further shots at the Tiger, but it's long gone. The Stug, still alive, was finally abandoned in Giap's base right there. Abandoned Stug. Ooh. Wow, was that a mortar? Apparently Paul fielded a mortar in his very first shot, wipes a flamethrower squad. This squad is going to run through the flames. Oh my god, that mortar! That mortar is wreaking havoc back here. I can't even believe that. Tiger is still at full health, 48 points remaining for Giap. He just can't seem to make anything happen despite some good RNG on that Stug. That mortar is just killing everything that might potentially crew that or repair it. And he doesn't have time for this. And he doesn't have anything that can finish off that almost completely dead Tiger, or anything that can repair his extremely damaged T-34. I don't even know what these shock troops are attempting right now. They can't kill that Tiger with a grenade or something. Giap trying to slow down the victory point drain with this squad. Squad of conscripts taking the center victory point get wiped by these LMG Grens. These squads making their way towards the north victory point will get shut down by this MG-42. Shock troop squad will be forced to retreat and takes extremely heavy damage from those LMG Grenadiers, gets wiped on the way back to the base, and Giap is reduced to almost no forces or victory points. And Paul will take game 2 with a 418 victory point victory, meaning he has faction selection in the coming ace game. Well played, Paul.